There is a plant that produces more omega-3 than any fish on Earth. It grows in sidewalk cracks and gravel driveways and drought-scorched fields where nothing else survives. Over 1 billion people eat it every single week and have done so for thousands of years. And yet, in the United States, it is classified as a noxious weed and sprayed with poison. You have probably pulled it from your garden and thrown it away. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to grow an infinite supply of omega-3 in a single bucket using a 10-minute setup that never needs replanting. The global omega-3 supplement industry generates more than $4 billion every single year. Fish oil capsules fill entire aisles in pharmacies and grocery stores from New York to Los Angeles. Krill oil sits on the premium shelf. Algae oil targets the plant-based buyer. Every single one of these products requires industrial extraction, purification, encapsulation, quality testing, and cold chain shipping across oceans and continents. That complexity is what keeps prices high and profit margins wide. And all of it is built on a single assumption that most consumers have never questioned. The assumption that omega-3 must come from the sea. Walk into any open-air market in Mexico City on a Saturday morning. Watch the vendors stacking thick bundles of fleshy green leaves with reddish stems into neat piles on wooden tables. Families line up to buy it by the kilo. They call it verdolaga. It goes into pork and tomatillo stews. It gets folded into scrambled eggs with chili and onion. It costs less than a bag of rice, and it has been part of Mexican kitchens for as long as anyone can remember. Nobody in that market is thinking about omega-3. They are simply eating what their grandmothers ate. But every single leaf on that table is delivering omega-3 directly into their bodies without a capsule or a factory or a supply chain. Fly 6,000 miles east to a village kitchen in Turkey. A grandmother is chopping the same plant on a wooden board. She mixes the leaves with strained yogurt and crushed garlic and a drizzle of olive oil. She calls it semizotu. Every household in the region knows this dish. It appears at nearly every summer table from Antalya to Istanbul. That bowl of chopped greens delivers a powerful daily dose of plant-based omega-3 fatty acids, completely free of industrial processing or factory supply chains. In Greece, the same plant shows up in ceramic bowls at seaside tavernas. They call it glystrida. It sits alongside tomatoes and feta and gets dressed with lemon and olive oil. Fishermen eat it. Farmers eat it. It grows wild along stone walls and between rows of grapevines, and nobody pays for it because it simply appears every spring without being planted. Those fishermen pulling it from stone walls are getting more omega-3 from the leaves on their plate than from the fish they caught that morning. In India, it carries the names kulfa and luni bhaji. Street vendors in Rajasthan and Gujarat stir-fry the leaves with cumin seeds and green chili in iron pans over open flames. In villages across Maharashtra, families harvest it from the edges of rice paddies where it grows without invitation. They are not buying supplements. They are picking omega-3 directly from the ground. In China, it has been called ma qi xian for over 2,000 years. Traditional medicine practitioners dried the leaves and stems and prescribed them for infections and inflammation. The documentation fills hundreds of pages in texts that span multiple dynasties. For 2 millennia, Chinese physicians recognized the healing properties of a plant that the modern Western world would eventually classify as garbage. More than 1 billion people across 6 continents eat this plant on a regular basis. Every week, every season, every generation. They have been doing it for thousands of years without any knowledge of fatty acid chemistry. They simply knew the plant made them feel better. Modern science finally explained why. This plant is Purslane, Portulaca oleracea. And what researchers found inside its leaves changed a fundamental assumption about where omega-3 comes from. Fresh purslane leaves contain approximately 400 milligrams of alpha-linolenic acid per 100 grams. Alpha-linolenic acid is the plant-based form of omega-3. That concentration is the highest of any leafy vegetable ever measured on Earth. Not spinach, not kale, not arugula, not any of the premium greens that fill the shelves of health food stores with high price tags and marketing campaigns behind them. Purslane beats them all, and it grows in the cracks of a parking lot. But the alpha-linolenic acid was not the discovery that shook researchers. In the early 1990s, scientists analyzing purslane tissue found something that was supposed to be impossible. While over 99% of purslane's omega-3 content is ALA, researchers made a fascinating discovery. Purslane also synthesizes rare trace amounts of EPA. While it won't replace marine sources for heavy EPA doses, finding this long-chain fatty acid in a land plant challenged long-held botanical assumptions. A plant that grows in dry gravel and cracked asphalt and abandoned lots was quietly producing the same omega-3 molecule that consumers were paying premium prices to extract from deep-sea fish. A weed in an American driveway contained the same compound as a wild-caught Alaskan salmon. That single finding should have rewritten the entire conversation about omega-3. It should have made headlines. It should have changed what doctors recommend and what consumers buy and what farmers grow. It did none of those things. The discovery was published. It was confirmed by multiple laboratories across several countries. And then it was buried under 15,000 studies about fish oil funded by the companies that sell fish oil. Consider the economics. Fish oil requires ocean harvesting fleets that burn diesel fuel across thousands of miles of open water. It requires processing plants where raw fish is rendered and the oil is extracted using industrial solvents or mechanical pressing. The crude oil must then be refined to remove mercury and heavy metals and environmental contaminants. It must be concentrated to increase the EPA and DHA content per capsule. It must be encapsulated in gelatin or soft gel shells. It must be tested for purity and potency. It must be bottled and labeled and shipped in temperature-controlled containers to distribution centers and then to retail shelves. Every single one of those steps requires equipment and facilities and labor and licensing. Every step is patentable. Every step generates revenue. The complexity is the product. Now consider purslane. You pick a leaf, you eat it. That is the entire supply chain. There is nothing to patent, nothing to license, nothing to encapsulate, nothing to ship in a refrigerated truck. The omega-3 is right there in the leaf. It enters your body the moment you chew. No factory stands between the plant and the person. No corporation takes a margin. No quarterly earnings report improves. This is why you have never heard of it. Search any major medical research database today. Type fish oil omega-3. Thousands and thousands of published studies appear. Now type purslane omega-3. A fraction of that number comes back. The ratio is not because fish oil delivers omega-3 more effectively. The ratio exists because fish oil has billions of dollars of industry funding behind every clinical trial. Companies that manufacture supplements fund the studies that validate their products. Universities pursue grants from available funding sources. The available sources favor patentable interventions. A leaf that you pick and eat cannot be patented, so the funding flows to fish oil. The research follows the funding. The public awareness follows the research. And the gap between what science knows about purslane and what consumers know about purslane grows wider every year. The global seed industry tells the same story from a different angle. Farmers around the world spend over $60 billion annually on seeds for annual crops. Corn, soy, wheat, rice, cotton. Every one of these crops must be repurchased every planting season. The business model depends on that annual cycle. Farmers buy seed, they plant, they harvest. The next year they buy seed again. The revenue is predictable. The dependency is built into the biology of the crop. Purslane breaks that model completely. A single purslane plant produces up to 240,000 seeds in one growing season. That is not a typo. 240,000 seeds from one plant. Those seeds fall to the ground and remain viable in the soil for 25 to 40 years. They germinate on their own the following spring, and the spring after that, and the spring after that. Buy purslane seed once and you never buy it again for the rest of your life. Your children will not need to buy it. Your grandchildren will not need to buy it. The plant simply continues producing omega-3 season after season after season without any input from the commercial seed industry. When a plant generates no repeat revenue, it generates no marketing budget. When it generates no marketing budget, it does not enter public consciousness. When a plant that cannot be eradicated keeps showing up in lawns and gardens where herbicide companies sell their most profitable products, it gets labeled a noxious weed. That label was not based on the nutritional science. It was based on the economics. This is not conspiracy. This is structure. Economic systems promote what benefits economic systems. A plant that provides free omega-3 forever threatens the supplement aisle, the fish oil factories, the seed catalogs, and the herbicide manufacturers all at the same time. No single product in any grocery store or pharmacy has that many enemies. And no product with that many enemies gets promoted by the system those enemies built. But the science does not care about economics, and the plant does not care about labels. Purslane has been producing omega-3 in its leaves for longer than any supplement company has existed. It produced omega-3 before the word omega-3 was invented. It produced omega-3 when the Egyptians placed its seeds in burial chambers alongside grain and dried meat thousands of years ago because they considered it a food worth carrying into the afterlife. It produced omega-3 when Theophrastus, the father of botany, documented it in ancient Greece in the 4th century BC. It produced omega-3 when Pliny the Elder described it in Rome in the 1st century AD. It produced omega-3 when Chinese physicians prescribed it under the name Ma Qi Xian for 2,000 continuous years. It produced omega-3 yesterday in a crack in your driveway while you walked past it on your way to the car. Now here is exactly how you grow it. And this is the part that takes 10 minutes. Take any standard 5-gallon bucket, the kind you find at any hardware store for a few dollars. Drill 4 small holes in the bottom for drainage. Fill the bucket with whatever soil you have available. Potting mix works. Garden soil works. Poor quality dirt from the corner of your yard works. Purslane evolved to grow in rubble and compacted clay and roadside gravel. It does not require rich soil. It does not require amendments. It does not require fertilizer. Scatter the seeds across the surface. Do not bury them. Purslane seeds require light to germinate. Just scatter them gently and press them into the surface with your palm. Mist with water from a spray bottle. Place the bucket in a spot that gets full sun for at least 6 hours a day. That is the entire setup. 1 bucket, some dirt, a handful of seeds. 10 minutes of your time. Germination happens in 7 to 10 days. Tiny succulent leaves appear in clusters across the soil surface. They are thick and fleshy and slightly reddish at the edges. Within 3 weeks, you will see recognizable purslane stems spreading and branching across the bucket. Each one of those stems is producing omega-3 in every single leaf it grows. Water occasionally during the first 2 weeks while the seedlings establish roots. After that, you can largely stop watering. The succulent leaves store water inside their tissue. This is a drought-tolerant plant that thrives on neglect. Forgetting to water purslane is not a failure. It is the natural condition under which this plant has grown for thousands of years across deserts and dry hillsides and sun-baked fields. Begin harvesting when stems reach 4 to 5 inches in length. Cut stems above the lowest leaf node using scissors or just pinch them with your fingers. The plant immediately sends out new growth from that same node. Cut again in a week. It regrows again. Cut again. It regrows again. This cycle continues through the entire growing season from late spring through early fall. A single 5-gallon bucket provides continuous omega-3 harvests for months. In late summer, allow a few plants to flower. The flowers are tiny and yellow, and they open for only a single morning before closing. After the flower closes, a small capsule forms at its base. Inside that capsule sit dozens of seeds smaller than grains of sand. Let those capsules dry on the plant. Let them split open naturally. Let the seeds fall into the soil of the bucket. Next spring, those seeds germinate on their own without any action from you. The bucket fills itself with new purslane. No replanting, no purchasing new seed, no annual trip to the garden center. One 10-minute setup becomes a permanent self-renewing source of omega-3 that outlasts you. If you want to expand even faster, take any stem cutting from a healthy plant. Lay it on the surface of moist soil in a second bucket. Within 48 hours, roots emerge from the nodes along the stem. A single plant becomes 10. 10 becomes 100. This is exactly why the agricultural system classified it as a weed. It cannot be stopped. It cannot be contained. It simply spreads and produces omega-3 wherever it lands. You can eat the leaves raw in salads for a mild, tangy crunch, or toss them into stews. Like spinach, purslane contains soluble oxalates, so anyone prone to calcium oxalate kidney stones should blanch or boil it, or pair it with calcium-rich foods like yogurt or feta. Every method delivers omega-3. No capsules required, no factories involved, no supply chain between the plant and your plate. Purslane grows in USDA zones 2 through 11. That covers virtually every climate in the continental United States and most of Europe and Australia and large portions of Asia, Africa, and South America. It handles extreme heat, it handles poor soil, it handles sandy ground and heavy clay and everything in between. The only real requirement is direct sunlight. A bucket on a sunny patio or balcony or front step is all the infrastructure this plant needs to feed you omega-3 for the rest of your life. The question was never why did the world hide this plant? Mexico did not hide it. Turkey did not hide it. Greece served it in open-air restaurants along the coast. India fried it in iron pans on public streets. China documented it in medical texts that sat on open shelves for 2,000 years. Nobody hid anything. The question is why one system decided that the most omega-3 dense leaf on Earth was a noxious weed that deserved to be sprayed with poison. Why billions of dollars flow into supplement factories that try to replicate in a capsule what this plant does naturally in a bucket of dirt. Why 3 generations of Western consumers spent money on fish oil while pulling the answer out of their gardens and throwing it in the trash. The answer is not conspiracy. The answer is structure. What cannot be owned cannot be sold. What cannot be sold does not enter consciousness. And what does not enter consciousness simply does not exist in a system that only recognizes what generates revenue. But the plant does not care about revenue. It does not respond to market dynamics or quarterly earnings forecasts or shareholder expectations. It cares about one thing only: reproduction. It produces 240,000 seeds and it waits. It has waited through empires and famines and industrial revolutions and the rise and fall of entire economic systems. It waited in the cracks of your driveway this morning while you drove to the pharmacy to buy fish oil, and it will keep waiting long after the last supplement factory shuts its doors.